Across the Board with Ian the Colonel here on hawkradio.org and acrosstheboardradio.com. Let's talk about metal again for a while. We tend to lean a lot towards the metal here. Some of the bands that are really surviving these days and that really stick out, just they're few and far between.
Right.
But one of my favorites, and I know, Colonel, you're backing me up on this.
I absolutely agree.
Shadows Fall, man. Love this band. New album out.
Can't wait to see them this Saturday, too.
This Saturday night. It's at Sonar in Baltimore, right?
Yeah.
Opening up for Fear Factory. Really psyched about seeing them. And we have Brian Fair, lead vocals, with us right now. Brian, welcome to the show, brother.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Absolutely, man. New album out, new label and everything. So looking forward to what we hear from this. It is Fire from the Sky. Will be coming out, next week, I guess, next Tuesday.
Maybe May 15th it comes out.
Yeah, through Razor and Tie, so we're looking forward to this. What can we expect, from the new label? Is it going to be a new sound, or, how have you guys grown? I've heard the new, the single already, and I love it.
Sky.
Absolutely, yeah. Love it. So
sonically, we're always going to have the bedrock that is the Shadows Fall sound, which
right.
is, melodic, thrashing metal. But we definitely did try to expand on that on this record. There's some really, really heavy moments. Like the title track is really almost like a slow, death metal-y tune with a thrash break in the middle. But then there are other tunes that, could show some of our more rock and roll and like arena rock influences. Like a song like "Nothing Remains" is definitely probably the most straightforward rock kind of tune we've ever done. But it's really, we tried to take each of our influences and all of our styles and really just push them to the limit on this record.
And your influences have been far and wide, and actually we'll quickly touch on your influences. Reading back that, with the recent tragedy that happened last week with MCA, he was a big influence on the band, if I remember correctly.
Oh, it's unbelievable. So, that was such a sad loss in the music world. I know he'd been fighting cancer for a while, but it was definitely, even if someone's, fighting a life-threatening disease, it's just sad when it actually comes to an end, because he was such an inspirational artist, and that band covered so much sonically. It was insane, from straight funk to hip-hop to hardcore, everything. I mean, those guys could do it all.
Yeah, that's the funny thing, metal bands, hip-hop bands, country musicians, everybody kind of mourns the loss of MCA, and, because it really is the end of the Beastie Boys as well. They can't perform anymore, and they really continue to influence people, and, those guys just stayed on stage and performed. It was absolutely amazing. So, and you actually won, I think this is in 7th grade in my research. I read this. You won you and a couple buddies won a radio jingle contest with a Beastie Boys inspired song, right? Something about energy conservation?
Yeah, it was the energy conservation rap for, I think it was for Mass Electric or something like that, which is the Massachusetts Electric Company.
Yeah.
And, we just recorded it with a Casio keyboard and a boombox, and we won the contest, and they put us in a studio, and that was my first time in a professional recording studio. I'm sure there's a copy of it out there somewhere, but who knows where,
Man, now, and you're actually multi-talented as well. I mean, you can sing, you can obviously grow the world's longest dreadlocks as well, but, you actually have Transient as well, another band where you played guitar and drums. What do you feel most comfortable doing? I mean, do you love doing all of those things, or do you prefer vocals over guitar, over drums?
I'd say honestly, I enjoy playing guitar most of these days because I'm still learning it.
Right.
I've been singing in metal bands for a couple decades now, so that kind of has become somewhat of a second nature thing. Whereas guitar, I'm constantly discovering new stuff and trying to just learn an instrument from the ground up, and I've kind of done it on my own with just some tips from people. So it's been a kind of a fun discovery. I'm definitely not a metal guitar player by any stretch of the imagination. I can't do any of the shred stuff.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm more just doing some chilled out mellow stuff. My favorite guitar players are, people like, Jerry Garcia and old blues players more than the shred guys, because my fingers just don't move like that. I don't know how they do it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's talent for sure. And I'm actually learning as well. I was going to ask you, what's your routine now? Do you have a routine, like you wake up and you play for 45 minutes, or,
No, it's unfortunately on tour I don't get to play as much as I'd like to. We do have a guitar that we keep in the back lounge just to mess around with, but at home I'm usually, if I'm sitting on the couch at any time not doing anything else, I'm playing guitar.
Nice.
And I like to just record silly little solo stuff all the time. I'm writing Transient tunes a lot, and just having fun with it. It's something that I don't really have any pressure to that side of it,
Sure.
whereas Shadows Falls, is our professional life. Whereas with, when I'm just messing around on guitar, it's just for me,
I'm with you, man. I love the old school blues, and actually just this weekend I watched the documentary Lightning in a Bottle, which blew my mind. Absolutely amazing. Old blues players at this one concert. But I like kind of like in between metal or electric and old blues, like Red House by Jimi Hendrix. That's probably one of my favorite blues tunes right there.
Yeah, that's some great stuff, man, without
Absolutely.
a doubt. I've just been kind of going back and starting at the roots, learning the old blues tunes, and then kind of stepping up to some of the classic rock stuff, and just really just trying to learn as many songs. That's the other thing I've been trying to do is learn a ton of songs and little licks from different places, just to kind of add to the repertoire.
And how much does Adam D bring to the table when helping you guys record an album? I mean, obviously he's very talented as well. How much does that help influence any of your sound as well?
It was a huge influence on this record because we actually brought him in right from the as soon as we were ready to demo tunes, we had Adam D involved, and what it was great for was having that extra set of ears that doesn't have any sort of attachment to the riffs or parts, or the ego's not involved. Because when you write something yourself, you tend to maybe be like, oh, this has to be this way, this has to be that way. So it's good to have someone right from the start telling you, like, well, this idea is heading in the right direction, this one maybe not so much, or this riff doesn't seem to fit in the song. And, so that helps you kind of trim some of the fat and just get the songs really tight. But then once we got in the studio, he's amazing at getting great performances out of you as well. He creates an environment where you're working your ass off, but it's fun. So you don't really feel that way. And also, just being such a great musician himself, if he has an idea, he can physically show you what he means,
Nice.
Whether it's picking up the guitar or just, like telling Jay about a type of drum fill, So that really, I think, is a huge help. And, working with him was great, but he also, I think sonically, this is a record that stands out from our other ones because I think it's just so different sounding because it has his, his mark on it,
Is he the most underrated producer in the game?
I'd say he's up there without a doubt. He's just such a talented guy all around. He has so many projects going on himself. Like he's constantly writing music, and so for us, and he's a good friend of ours. So that I think just the environment working with him was just great. I could see how other younger bands might be intimidated a little bit by him because he is brutal with his opinions. If he does not like something, he does not pull back. He will definitely. So I'm sure he could probably crush the spirit of some younger bands who may not know him as well, or get his sense of humor because he will unleash.
Wow. Yeah, but sometimes you need that, especially when.
Totally. Oh, it's always constructive, but
Yeah.
I can see it affecting someone else negatively. For us, we just laugh in his face,
It works, though. I mean, see, that's the thing, though. You're one of those bands that puts out quality all the time, where I wish somebody, he should produce for, and I hate to throw him under the bus, but Metallica. I mean, they're not coming out with the same quality anymore. And some of these bands that have been around for a while, I think they're surrounded by yes men. They're like, oh, yeah, everything you do is great, where you need somebody like Adam who would be like, dude,
totally.
this sucks.
That's exactly what I was talking about as far as, having that set of ears that isn't attached so emotionally and ego-wise to the material. You need that outside influence that could be, kind of give you that wake-up call, like, dude, this just isn't working,
Right.
And I think without that, you'll just kind of, just stroke your own ego and do whatever you want without really paying attention to what is, what's really working, what is really quality.
Yeah, you go unchecked.
Going,
Yeah, across the board with Ian the Colonel here with Brian Fair of Shadows Fall. Again, they are performing in our area in Baltimore this weekend, opening up for Fear Factory, but they are on tour. You can see them everywhere in the world.
Is that not the best show ever, though? Fear Factory, Shadows Fall?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it, man.
It's been a great build, man. We've been having a blast with those guys, and the shows have been great so far. We did Texas and Florida so far. We're about a week and a half in, and all the shows have been sick so far.
And you can follow all of that action on shadowsfall.com. Again, shadowsfall.com. Now, I have never been able to see you or Fear Factory, so I'm really stoked about Saturday. What can we expect from the live show?
We're actually playing a set. It's getting harder and harder for us with 7+ albums out
Right.
to pick a set list. But so we're trying to get a well-rounded set of old. We're also doing 3 new songs. Giving people a little bit of a preview of the new record before it comes out. And for us, it's just exciting to play those tunes. We've been looking forward to getting them on stage. So it's been a cool set list, mixing our entire career plus a look to the future. So it's pretty cool. And so far, like I said, it's just been killer shows. And the the venue size has been perfect. You know, it's been packed houses, but like where it's close, you know, an intimate, in your face show. You know,
Right.
Love that, man. Now, you know, I could be reading into this, and tell me if I am. I'm not trying to start controversy here. However, you said that one of the songs on the album is called "Nothing Remains." Is that a reference to All That Remains? And former
no,
okay, just a coincidence. Okay.
Yeah, it's a song about actually opiate and heroin addiction because we just lost too many good people in the metal world over the last, you know, recently to addiction and things like that. It's just a song about, you know, just crossing that line and never being able to come back. And once you do, that's kind of where the title comes from. Nothing remains, you know, on that other side. But yeah, no mention of no veiled reference to our boys from Massachusetts, you know.
Yeah, right. I didn't know. Now, have you lost anybody personally close to you from heroin addiction, or?
Yeah, definitely. There's been people I've known, but you know, people on the more worldwide level, like losing someone like Paul from Slipknot and things like that. But also just people I've grown up with as well, and it's one of those things I still don't understand how people get caught up in it because it ends two ways, either with brutal rehab or death. So I just don't understand how it keeps happening, but unfortunately it does. And hopefully, you know, it was just something that was on my mind, and the song had kind of a dark vibe to it, so it just kind of fit the tone of it, and you know, something I just kind of needed to get out as well.
Yeah, I've lost a couple friends to it as well, and it is tough, and it's hard. I mean, that's a grip that I can't understand, and you know, they can't explain to anyone else, and they just can't seem to get out of. It's a really, really tough thing.
Yeah,
Unfortunately, some of my buddies have gotten out of it, but yeah, it's a fight.
That's the thing. I do know people who have recovered, and it's an amazing thing when they do, but it is something that does stay right behind them, one step away, always. You know, so
that's a good way to put it.
So it's usually the best way to avoid that situation is by avoiding it entirely and not starting that trip down that steps. You know,
no doubt.
Brian, I'm sure in your travels you've heard a lot of different bands and everything, and we always take personal references above everything. Who is the best band that we've never heard of?
Ooh, let's see. You know, I haven't been listening to too much newer, heavy stuff recently. One band that we just played some shows with called Trumpet the Harlot is really good, and Matt, our guitar player, has actually been working with them on producing a record. Outside of the metal world, I've been listening to this band, The Joy Formidable, a bunch. It's almost like
they are good, yeah.
It's like a poppier My Bloody Valentine almost. You know, it's like really noisy guitars, but with great female vocals and just cool songwriting. So.
Yeah, I really dig them as well, and their lead singer, her name is Ritzy. That's just cool. I don't respect that. Man. They're from like England, Wales, something like that. I think.
I'm not even sure. You know, a friend of mine, this guy Derek, used to play drums with Unearth for a while. He turned me on to him, and they've been in constant rotation recently.
Yeah, Heavy Abacus. That song, I love the like you said, the noisy
totally.
guitars and the drums.
Song too.
Yeah.
If anyone's on YouTube out there, it's a great video.
It is a great video. Yeah, and just crashing drums. I'd love to check them out live at some point as well.
Yeah, that's a band I've wanted to see live. The other band I need to see live, they're touring this summer, is Explosions in the Sky. It's probably one of my favorite bands. Just a great, like, epic instrumental band, and I've still not get to see them. So those two are bands I've been listening to a lot lately.
Nice. Trumpet the Harlot. We'll have to look into it. We'll have to get in touch with your guy to check them out as well. I'd like to get them on the show. Brian, say, you know, this is 2012, the year of the apocalypse, blah, blah, blah. Say, you know, the world's going to end in the next 10, 15 minutes, something like that. What is the last song that you want to hear or perform? And you can sing it, you can play it on guitar, you can play it on the drums. Sing, or hear or perform. Last song in your head.
Wow. You know, it would actually be the Smiths song, Asleep. Because if we're going out, I'm going out that way.
No doubt. Smiths.
That's a good call.
Yeah, man. Calling out Morrissey and everybody. Wow, that's a really
Morrissey
good call.
was a huge influence on me, man. I was such a Smiths fan. I still always will be. But that song, I can picture if everything's burning, I just want that like soft little piano in the background and hear Morrissey's voice, and I'm good.
That's a great call. Now, you're a huge rock star these days. Have you had a chance to meet Morrissey?
No, I've actually met Alan White, his guitar player, for the solo stuff for a long time, but I've never gotten to actually meet the Moz. I'd almost be afraid to because he seems like one of those dudes that, you know, it's almost better to keep the idea of what he's like than actually meet him.
I've heard that about a handful of people. I'm not going to name names, but I mean, you're talking like, you know, superstars that are some of the biggest names in what would be now considered classic rock.
Sometimes you can ruin that childhood dream, you know.
Yeah, that's a good point. Where you're like, oh, that guy was kind of a douche, actually. You know? Yeah, been there with some interviews as well, for sure. But see, there are so many cool people out there, though. You know, we find, you know, that most rock stars or stars of any genre are just normal people with really sick jobs.
Yeah,
totally, man. That's what we've learned. You know, we've been lucky enough to tour with some of the bands that I grew up idolizing. You know, Iron Maiden, Black Sabbath, and when you get to meet them and find out that they're even cooler than you thought you were, it's always awesome.
Yeah.
But the opposite does happen occasionally, and you're like, man, I would kind of just wish that I never would have known. You know.
Is there anywhere that you haven't played yet that you'd like to play? I mean, I've heard some people describe touring as it's only glamorous for 50 minutes a night when you hop up on stage and play your set. Otherwise, you're sleeping on a bus. You never get to go out anywhere. I mean, is there somewhere that you'd like to experience?
Yeah, you know, I've always wanted to go to Indonesia. That's been one place.
I've heard some people say that, yeah.
We've been lucky to go to a lot of places that I always wanted to go. Like, we got to play Thailand. We got to play the Philippines. We just did a run in South America.
Yeah.
But, you know, Indonesia is one I've always wanted to go to. I've always wanted to go to... I know there's only shows really in South Africa, but I'd love to just, be able to play there, but then also travel around. But like you said, a lot of times you don't get to actually see the places you go to. We've been fortunate a few times. With the Philippines, we were able to go explore for a couple of days and go to some other islands. And Australia, we just recently were where we had a few days off to, explore a little bit. But a lot of times, yeah, you see the airport, the hotel, the club, and then the airport,
And that's it, yeah. In fact, you guys released Madness in Manila in 2009, so you actually have a DVD, CD of your show in the Philippines as well. Pretty cool stuff there.
Totally. I mean, we played the soccer stadium in the Philippines, which if you would have told me, that was in our future, I would have probably laughed in your face like, yeah, right, And it was an amazing show. The fans in the Philippines have been really supportive of us, and we're hoping to get back there again soon. I mean, the metal scene, when we first went there, we were one of the first metal bands that had been there since, like, maybe Metallica, like the Injustice for All tour.
Whoa.
So it kind of got the ball rolling, and now the promoter there, this guy Vernon, who's a great dude, once that show was successful, he's brought over, now every year they're having metal tours there, Arch Enemy, Lamb of God, Trivium, and it was kind of cool to help sort of open the door through him, and now get a bunch of bands over there, and now that scene is just growing huge, so it's really cool.
Brian, I'm a San Antonio Spurs fan. You're a Celtics fan. What are the odds?
Well, let's hope we both make it to the finals.
That's what I was going to ask you. What
are
the odds that we both get to the finals? That would be epic.
I think if Tony Parker keeps playing the way he is, the Spurs, I think, might have a really, really good chance of getting through there. The Celtics, it's going to take them. The Heat doesn't scare me as much because we've owned them in the regular season.
Mm-hmm.
It's more health. If KG can keep playing the way he is, if Ray Allen can come back from the Bone Spurs, they always have a puncher's chance because they've been there, they proved it, and they have their rings. So who knows? But honestly, the Spurs are looking like a juggernaut. The only thing they have to worry about is if Durant plays the way he did, like in that first series they just finished. Oof, the Thunder's coming, man. Those guys can ball.
And Rondo's got to stop hitting referees or bumping referees.
I know. I love Rondo to death, but on the court, everything else, I'm like, man, what is this guy's?
Yeah, but he gets the crazy triple doubles. I mean,
And the other thing too is on your side of the bracket, that a lot of the big names are getting cleared out right now. I mean, Chicago's about to fall.
Yeah.
Orlando's about to fall. The only one you got to worry about really is Miami.
Yeah, exactly. I was, as much as I, dislike the Bulls, we've had some brutal series. I was sad to see D Rose go down because that's just so unfortunate. That dude is just so good, and this was definitely
it's
their
so
chance.
young.
There's always going to be that little back of your mind, like whoever wins the East is going to be kind of like, well, you didn't have to go through D Rose,
Mm-hmm. That's a good point.
I'm sure that LeBron will, it'll be one more reason to be like, whatever, screw LeBron. Like he didn't even have to beat the Bulls,
Well, Brian, again, Fire from the Sky is coming out next week.
This coming Tuesday.
Yeah, it's coming Tuesday.
Yeah, very excited about that.
Yeah, and follow these guys on tour. Again, we always say this. We repeat it over and over again. Music should be experienced, not just heard.
That's right.
Go see these cats live. Get the album, for sure. Not just one song on iTunes. Buy the album, the whole thing, and then go see these guys live, sing along, thrash out.
Go see them this Saturday at Sonar, man.
Absolutely, man. And are we getting circle pits going? Are we getting a wall of death? What are we doing?
We always get the old school circle pit. We got those thrash riffs. We got to keep that, keep it moving in a circle. And plus, it's safer that way, and everyone going counterclockwise,
Right.
Yeah. That's a good point.
The wall of death usually ends up with too many injuries these days,
Now, the dreads, how long are you keeping the dreads, man? That's for life or,
No, there'll come a time where I know it's time to cut them off, and when I do, it'll be all or nothing. There's no trimming involved. It's, I'll just get the hedge clippers out and just get it done.
Yeah,
Hedge clippers.
And they're down to. They're almost down to your calves. I mean, you're like the Crystal Gale of dreads.
There's one that's hitting the ankle right now, man. So, and I have to tie it up in knots all the time to keep it off the ground.
How do you do that?
Is it a bitch to get through airport security with that?
No, they look at me. They're like, "There's no way you're going to try to bring drugs through. Look at you."
Too obvious. That's rough. Well, we appreciate it. Fire from the Sky. Go get it. Go see these guys. ShadowsFall.com. I'm E. He's the Colonel. This is Across the Board on HawkRadio.org
and AcrossTheBoardRadio.com.